Hello and welcome to Stress Less with me, Jess. Today, my special guest is Rich Hall. Hello, Rich.
Hey, Jess, pleasure. Glad to be here.
I'm so excited to be on here with you. One, because like we were just saying before you press record, is that you and I have no problem getting off topic and just talking about life and all the goods in between. But I wanted you to come on here for a very specific reason. You talk about things that as a business owner, and you'll probably agree, obviously, we do not talk about enough. We do not talk enough about exit planning. When we start a business, we get super excited that we have a business and we have an idea and we're really good at that. And then we get stuck into, the all the guru stuff of building the business, but we don't think about the end because we don't want the end, right? We're like, oh no, I want to keep my business forever. It's my baby, but life happens. So tell us the goods, tell us you are, how you got into, getting into this exit plan and all the fun stuff.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So you led it off very well. Most people, when we start a business, when you first start it, what are you doing? You're just trying to pay the bills, right? You're trying to get it up, get it to a certain point where it can run and survive and keep going, and provide for your family and the employees' families and things like that. But then what happens is over time, if you maintain the business, a lot of people fall into that trap that says, hey, I've got a good business. So whenever it's time and it's ready, I can just turn around and sell it. And, whether I want to retire or take the money and invest or whatever. Here's the problem. Just because a business is successful, like generating good income, doesn't mean it'll sell. And that's the thing that a lot of business owners don't realize until they're too late in the game. Or examples, things like they don't know how businesses nowadays are valuated. So how do I know what it's worth when I get ready? Or even this happens a lot. Business owners get a phone call, right? And it's people fishing, but they may have buyers out there looking to buy into a business or to purchase a business. How do you know if it's a good deal or not? So that's what I do is I work with the business owners and say, hey, number one, let's evaluate your business. Here's if we were going to sell it tomorrow, this is what it would go for. Usually it doesn't go as high as the business owner would like for it to, right? Because it's their baby and they built it, etc. Sometimes it does. But then once you get the real facts about how it works, then we start talking about things like, okay, do you want to increase the value of the business, not just necessarily how much income comes in? And then it gets pretty exciting. And then regardless if you're looking to exit 3 years from now, 10 years from now, or no time in the future, your business is ready when you are.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's our baby. We want to give it up. But I think people need to tell me how you agree with this. I love analogies.
Yep.
When I start to think about an exit plan, I start to think about, they're like, oh, what's your goal? Where do you want to reach? Things like that. And I kind of like picture it as when you're working out, right? You want to fit into that dress. You might have a wedding to go to. It's summertime, whatever the case may be, right? And it's, what's my goal to reach? Because so I know where I'm working towards, I think is really important to see. But like you said too, I think it's also very much, I value my business at such a high rate. And then when buyers start to come in, they're like, well, I mean, you did a great job, but, so I guess my first question is, how do I know I'm ready to start to even plan an exit plan?
Okay, great question. And there's something you touched on that is just absolutely critical. And again, most business owners don't think about it as much, but there's we call it a three-legged stool. But when you're talking about the future, there's three things you need to focus on. Number one is your personal. What do you want out of the future? And whether it's retirement or you want to go and work into another business or invest or travel for a while or whatever, you really need to give some of that thought. Because a lot of business owners, they're like, I'm tired, man. It's rough. I'm worn out. I want to retire at the beach or I want to play golf. okay, hold on. Are you going to play golf 13 hours a day for the rest of your life? Probably not. So what makes you happy? And what would you really like to do? All right. And then when you think about that, then it gets on the financial part, right? Let's take a hard look at where you're at today, personally, financially, and can you afford that kind of lifestyle? Most business owners, here's the thing, 80% of their wealth, personal wealth, is tied up in their business, right? If you own a business, you got good times. A lot of times, what do? You'll take that money and you'll reinvest in the company. And you'll reinvest because you want it to grow. But when 80% of your wealth is tied up, then, man, that can be pretty risky, right? If you get to a point and it doesn't sell. So we talk about things like, what's your personal goals? What's that number you need to hit so that you can obtain your goals? And then will the business bring a value high enough to close that gap? If it does, fantastic, you're ready. If it doesn't, then that's okay. But now we can start talking about what it takes to get there. And it's very critical that we look at all three items.
I love this. I love the breakdown. I think it makes sense, like you said. And, I bartended for 15 years. So exactly what you're saying of, oh, they want to play golf and, that's going to be their life, but there's so much more. So like you said, you're not going to play golf for 13 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you want? Do you want that new home? Do you want that, you're going to the opera, whatever the case may be. There's so many other things to life. Not hating on golf. I'm just saying there's other things to do 13 hours a day. Right.
That's right.
So what does that mean? And I think my other question for you, because I'm thinking about the new trend, I should say new trend. I'm thinking about a lot of people nowadays are coaches, right? And they're in that holistic realm. Do they also get to think about an exit plan as well? Or is this only for people that have products?
Again, man, you've done your homework. Great questions. Here's the thing. Usually services type companies may generate a great income, but so much of the delivery of the services are tied back again to the people, the owners, the employees, et cetera, which makes sense. Therefore, they're not quite as scalable. And if you're going out to the open market to try to sell it, they don't capture as high a value or a purchase price. Okay, but here's the thing. Why not get a services business up to a point where it's generating really good income and then replace yourself? Have somebody else come in, teach them, let them run the business, pay them what's appropriate for that role, and then the profitability you keep for yourself. That's your long-term annuity. So see, that goes into part of your retirement. That's the thing a lot of people don't look at is they may sell it and get whatever they can for it, rather than saying, hey, what are other options that may exist? And there's a lot of them out there. If you know the right people to talk to and to be open-minded.
I like that because I think, like you said, I think when we think exit plans, we think about, oh, I have to sell an actual product. Like, oh, I'm going to sell these microphones. You can take them over and you know whatever you want to do with it, right? Where, like you said, at service based, it's very much that person. And so, like you said, I think you said something else scary though. What I hear is passing my baby to somebody or delegating, and nobody likes passing their baby and nobody likes to delegate. So all of these are very stressful situations, and it's scary. And I think, I don't think we mentioned this, but you've been doing this for 10 years. And I think that's something we should clarify too. You didn't just wake up today saying, hey, I'm going to teach you how to sell your business. You've been in here for 10 years, helping people grow their business and creating that exit plan, whether, like you said, is buying that service base or just figuring out what that next step is for them.
Well, think about this. You mentioned a good point about, how do they understand or deal with the stress when going through these type? I mean, this is life-changing events, right? Whether it's you grew that baby and it's been yours and it's your personality, it's the DNA is yours. Okay. It can be very stressful to it. The thing is, though, is that's also part of what makes it valuable. And it makes it attractive for people that want to work there. And just because you put together a plan to look at what do I want to do to make it more attractive in the event that I do want to transition in some kind of way. Having a plan like that in place is so much what helps reduce the stress, because you know that if this happens, this happens, this happens, it's going to be okay. I'll give you an example. So let's say there's a couple of partners that are in a business and they've been working together for years and et cetera. And this is sort of a crude example, but let's say that one day they're 50-50 owners, and then one of the partners gets a note that says, guess what? Their spouse has been having an affair. Now they're about to go through it.
Yeah, tell more.
Game on that, right? But think about it. Here's what happens. Okay, now they're going through a divorce. The spouse wants half your company. Okay, so now this great company you've been running all this length of time is now caught up in a divorce battle in court, and you could lose your partner and half of the company because of it. Yeah. Talk about stress going through the roof. Okay. But there's easy ways to prepare. There's things called like buy-sell agreements that says in the event that you're no longer able to perform your duties, either through a lot of things, could be death, divorce, disease, whatever it is, there's a group of those, then we agree up front that you will sell your shares to the other partner. Well, what that's doing is reducing the risk that there is a big event that could impact the company. So again, just maybe an extreme example, but I would bet your listeners would say, yeah, man, I've heard of somebody that something like this has happened to before. The same thing with a death. Think about it. Somebody passes away, and then it goes to the spouse. And the spouse is like, I don't want anything to do with this business. I don't understand it. Just get rid of it. Something happens. And then this great business actually starts going down. So there's things like that, that once you start looking at it and saying, hey, yeah, it makes sense to plan, you're planning for something that may happen 3 years, 5 years, or never. And you're ready for it when it does.
To me, it just sounds like an insurance plan for your business, basically, right? It's another way to just protect your business. And if it's your baby, it's a way to protect it,
Yeah. And we don't think about it. I mean, the irony of your response is, a lot of ways that you can do some of this protecting of the interest are through things like insurance policies and et cetera. And I don't sell that stuff. I'm not of that person. I can recommend things and et cetera. But yeah, what you're doing is you're almost taking out insurance, so to speak, to make sure that what you've built will sustain itself. And insurance could be hiring that person that we want to bring in and help them, groom them so they could take it over, or all of these different scenarios that could occur. So I sit down and talk with business owners and walk through stuff like this. And more times than not, it gets them thinking, and they're like, wow, I hadn't thought about that. That would make a lot of sense. And then you can start putting plans in place. And it doesn't mean that, it's a catastrophe or, oh, you've got to do it right now. As a matter of fact, the worst thing that can happen is when somebody wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm tired, I'm worn out, and I want to sell my business. If they're at that point, it is like a fire sale. Yeah. And the people out there can smell it, they can see it, and you may get a very small portion for your business of what it's worth. It just makes sense to plan for it accordingly.
No, this makes so much sense. And I'm glad we were able to cover both service and product based, because I think it's really important. But I love the way that you broke it down, like you said, just for that insurance, there's goals. There's more than one reason why you should have that exit plan. Because like you said, there's going to be that time where you just wake up, whether it's something that happened or you're just kind of tired yourself. And because that's how life goes, right?
Yeah.
So Rich, for the listeners, they're taking down the notes. They're saying, yes, 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 this makes sense. Of all the things that we're talking about right now, what is the one thing you want the listeners to take away?
I think Number one, what I call the three-legged stool. Think about what you want personal. Take a step back from the business for a minute. Think what you want personal that would make you happy and to plan for. Then from a financial perspective, again, what's it going to take and how to get there? And then if you are a business owner or a large portion of your wealth is part of the business, then start thinking about planning for the business. Not just will it generate a good income, but what may be the next phases, and sort of lift above the situation that you're in right now and think about this stuff. And if you don't have the answers, then either reach out either through me or there's other people you can talk to, get a plan in place so then you're protected or covered.
And Rich, what is the best way for someone to contact you? They love you, they're ready for you. What is the best way for them to contact you?
You know, what I say is reach out via the link, through my website, richhallgroup.com. They can register on there. I put a lot of this practical stuff out there on my blog. So that's a good way. The other is reach out on LinkedIn. I put a lot of this information out there. I love to engage. Doesn't cost anything to have a good conversation with good people. And then hopefully we can help somebody along the way and get them prepared for whatever that future may look like.
Thank you, Rich. During our talk too, we mentioned stress, and just like everybody, we all have stress. So what do you think is one of your ways your job brings you stress?
I love solving problems. And I really, when I'm working with a business owner and I'm hearing their challenges and, I've got this, I got this, and I got this, I just, go all in doing everything I can to help them. And I treat it as though it's my business. Yeah. So sometimes I get so engaged with it because I want to help so much that, I'll get really stressed out to saying, can I do more? Can I do more? And then I have to catch myself and back myself out a little bit and say, hey, everybody calm down. It's going to be okay. The sun will rise. Now let's focus on what needs to be done.
I love that. That's a hard one, especially for business owners. We get very wrapped up in helping our clients, so which is a good problem to have, but it's also, we got to definitely set these boundaries.
Yep, absolutely.
What is one way you practice self-care?
Schedule time for myself. One of the biggest lessons I learned was it's okay to block off time on your calendar to reflect, to take a breather if you need to, and to recharge. And I make sure that I have those kind of blocks throughout my week and schedule so I don't just get so overwhelmed and overpacked that I'm stressed out all the time.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It's one of my favorite tips to give. So I'm so glad you said that. Rich, before I let you go, I did warn you about the lightning round. Are you ready?
Yep. Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. First question. What was your first job?
Kmart, stockman, all the way back many years ago when they still had a lot of Kmarts. Yes.
I don't know if there's Kmart around me anymore, but yes, I do remember the Kmarts.
I was the guy that the number one tool that I had, when you started working there, they'd give you a putty knife. You had to carry the putty knife in the back of your jeans. Okay. You walk around the floor, you see chewing gum, scooping up the putty knife. Okay. You need to open up boxes, putty knife. I'll never forget that. See, and I even to this day, I got a putty knife out in my garage. Okay, come on, hit me.
Hit me. Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. Okay, what subject you would like to learn more about?
Wow, I'm really enjoying the whole AI stuff. I'm a technology guy myself.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it and stayed on top of it, pretty much most of my career. And it's amazing where it's going to continue going. So yeah, let's do it.
So cool. What was one of your nicknames?
Actually, my name has always been Richard, but people call me Rich because I was I forgot, high school or college or something, and they were like 4 people ahead of me, Richard, Dick, which I never took to that one, Rick, whatever it is. And the last one was Rich. So then it just stuck. And ever since then, that's what I've been called.
And now you help people become rich. I love it. What is your favorite breakfast?
Oh, favorite breakfast. So I will share with you. Every morning I cook breakfast for my wife and I, full breakfast. Her favorite's one of my omelets. So I'm actually very good at omelets. But yeah, I grew up with the importance of having a good breakfast every morning. So we have a good, healthy breakfast every single day. And I make sure that she's got what she needs to take off. And I always have a good breakfast myself. Best meal of the day.
You are the sweetest. And what's your favorite sport to watch?
College football, no question. Yeah, I've been season ticket holder for quite a few years for my alma mater. And then now my sons went to the school and they both are season ticket holders. So yeah, when it's college football time, man, our house is as much fun as there ever was.
And only because we're on the subject, you have to let everybody know the fun Philly football Eagles fact that you told me.
Oh, which one?
Didn't you tell me your son went to school with the court? Wasn't that? Didn't you see the or quarterback play? Wasn't that you?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Jalen Hurts, right?
Yes.
Okay, so my middle son went to the University of Oklahoma. And at that time was when Jalen Hurts again he was the most incredible, selfless quarterback at Alabama. But when it came time for him to have his senior year, Alabama didn't think that he was the player for him. So Jalen transferred to Oklahoma, played for college football's #1 quarterbacks coach, and was absolutely fantastic. He then went on and was one of the Heisman finalists. And I've got a personal connection back to Philly, and I used to work and have a location in Bluebell and Conshohocken, a little bit north. Loved the area. And when we heard that Jalen had got picked up by the Eagles, we all went out and bought like Eagles jerseys because that guy is top notch. So congratulations to all your listeners. He is a quality person, as you know.
Rich, I can't thank you enough for coming on to our show today and enlightening us with so many good, juicy details that we all need to know, especially as business owners. So thank you so much for your time.
What a blast. Enjoyed it, Jessica. And anytime, let's do it again.